Okay, moving on. So what you want to do now is my work. Whenever you do any kind of drawing or CAD drawing, there'll be some reference point, and usually it's referenced to this top surface, bottom left corner here. Get a better edge. So as far as you're concerned, if you want to put a circle in this center here, yeah, you've gone to your program and you've done your piece of wood, and that point there is 0, 0, and you've gone, okay, I want it 200 millimeters in, and I want a 100 millimeter circle there in the center. Okay, so that is roughly, I don't know, 150 millimeters by 75 millimeters. But that from that corner there, not from that point there. It's from this corner here, always from the edge of the work. Okay, now the work has, again, 3 axes. You've got a long ways. This here is your X axis going that way. So X is that way. Y is from this edge going that way. Okay, so X is from this edge going this way. Y is from this edge going this way. And Z is from the top of the top surface of the work. Okay, so that's 0. So if you look at it, when you combine all 3, X, the far left of the edge of the piece of wood, that will be X0. And the bottom of the edge of the piece of wood, that will be Y0. And the top of the piece of wood, or the surface of the piece of wood, would be Z0. So if you look at this point here, and you think about this point here, what this point here is from the wood's point of view, this is 0x, 0y, and 0z, that corner there. But there's no way the machine knows, with respect to this point here, where that 0, 0 is. So what you do, you have to kind of give it what's called a work offset, or basically tell it where 0, 0 is with a piece of wood. So what you do, grab your trusty remote control, and what you first want to do is go back to your software, and here where you've got machine coordinates are in red, if you click that, and it should disappear, that red. Okay. Now you've got a set of numbers which are just random. Don't worry about those numbers at the moment. They're not important. Okay. What is important is first remembering how to set this piece of wood up so the machine knows where this point is. So the first thing to do is to do your X edge. Okay, your X axis. All right, which how far that way? So let's just move our machine. See it moving. There we go. I'm using the pendant to control it here. Okay, so I get it more or less right. While it's moving, can you see how the x-axis is moving and it seems to be getting bigger? Okay, don't worry about that. Okay, if you overshoot the position, just move it back. That's more or less it. So what you do then is, as you can see, the head is far away from the edge. See the head is still too far away from the edge of the wood. So that way a bit. So it's over the wood. As you can see, the pointer, or the actual cutter, is right on the edge of this piece of wood. Now, go back to your software. You can see the X position, now showing some value. What you then have to do is zero that, tell the machine that that is my 0 for the X. So, there you go. Just click on this button here. That zeroes the X to 0, and it's 0. Interesting little thing for you, if you click on, you go and click on the machine coordinates button again, that position there, on the X position, means that the actual wood there, wood corner there, is 242 mils from this absolute position here across. Okay? So let's go back to the work coordinates, just push the red button again, we've got 0. Now we'll do the same for the Y position. At the moment it's showing some random value, and as you can see, the cutter is not anywhere near this edge. So we need to move the cutter a bit this way, and then here. And there you can see the cutter is pretty much on this edge, or this is the Y edge. So, alright. Now, you've set the X axis, so you don't have to worry about that. It will show you some numbers, don't worry about that. Now the next one you want to set is the Y axis. Now, at the moment it's showing some random value. Now you've set it to be this edge here. So this edge here, so all you need to do then is say yes, I'm happy with my Y position, and again just click that button there and that will go to 0. Okay, now we do the same with the Z position. So move the cutter to the centre of the piece of wood. Okay, so we're going to set the Z axis now. Now at the moment, again, because it's first switched on, the machine doesn't know where the Z, or the top of the piece of wood is. Can't possibly know that. You need to tell that. So what you do is you've got to lower the cutter onto the surface so it just touches the surface. That can be a little tricky, and what a lot of people do is use a piece of paper where they lower the cutter down and they move the piece of paper backwards and forwards until the cutter point pinches the piece of paper onto the surface of the wood, and you can't move it easily. Then that is 0 for your Z axis. Okay. Now what you have to do, this Z here, the Z cutter, is a bit quick. If you do that, going down, there's no way you can control the speed of the head as it goes down, and it'll just rivet the router bit straight into the piece of wood. So what you do is you slow it down using the jog. Use jog. Slow and fast. So just hold your finger on the button for a bit, and then try again. A bit too slow. Right, so there we go. So you can see. Doing 3 to 4, just inching it down. Right, it's pinched it at that. It's got hold of it. So that is 0. Okay? So that's my 0 for my Z. And here, the Z-axis numbers. Remember, make sure it's not red. It's not red there. Red, what I mean by red, when it's on, it's bright red. Okay, so there's your Z-axis numbers. And when you're happy with your cutter position being 0, which it is, all you do is then click 0Z. And your numbers will change there. So now what you've done is set your X, Y and Z to be with respect to this point here. If you look at it, from that corner there, you've got, it's about roughly 120, 130 millimeters in from the left hand edge, or the X position is 130. And it's about 50 to 60 millimeters in from this edge, from this bottom edge. Now if you've done it right, it should, these numbers should reflect that. You've got roughly about 130 millimeters from that edge, from the edge, and about 60 millimeters from the front face. So that's looking about right. And your 0, because I've not moved my X, my Z cutter, it's still on the surface. So what we can do now is that we'll move this cutter up and then click go to Z here. And what go to Z means, it will actually take this cutter head and move it to 0x, 0y and 0z. Which what it means is it's going to go up, we're going to go to this corner here, then it will point to that corner there, if everything's okay. So let's just move the cutter up out the way first. There we go. Okay, so we've got our X0, our Y0 and our Z0. So hopefully if I push the go to 0 button, this will cause this cutter to go that way to 0, that way to 0 and point to this bottom corner. And that's a good way to tell if your machine has been set up correctly. So, fingers crossed. Let's try that. So here's your go to 0, go to Z, click that. Now as you can see, it is pointing to this bottom left hand corner, and it, oh, I didn't get it quite right, but you can see the general idea is there. Okay, so that's how you do your setup for your piece of wood. So you set 0, 0.